Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Immaculate Podcast. I am here with the one and only. Matter of fact, I'm not going to do the introduction. He's going to do the introduction because he is the introductee that makes he the great one as myself, because I am here with...
Ladies and gentlemen, from Evansville, Indiana, representing all the poor white boys around the world. Weighing in, I just weighed myself this morning at 192 pounds with about 26% body fat. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of Tri-State Wrestling, Josh Stratton.
Let's go! I ain't gonna lie, dude, that announcer really got me good, man.
That's what I try. That's what I'm here for, not just the pretty face.
That was good. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know me, but for the ones that don't, I'm the immaculate one.
Mike Miker.
Ladies and gentlemen, and that's how the job gets done.
And I get my paycheck and I'm out. All right.
Man, a lot has happened since you and I both were here last sitting here.
Yeah, I think few things that were newsworthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some bad, some more bad.
Yeah.
Depends what side of the table you're sitting on.
Yep. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. There's a lot of pissed off people.
Yeah, it's a rough time in my house.
Dude, it was good for me. I ain't gonna lie to you. I probably went a little overboard on the trolling. Probably a little overdone, but there's some people that still eat well done steaks. You know what I mean?
There's a few. They're freaking crazy. But
I got a lot of DMs, and people are like, "Man, you're gonna get canceled." And I was like, "What are you canceling exactly?" Oh man. Anyway, so I just want to talk to you guys about some of the new things that's happening with the pod. Probably by the next time that we'll be back on the airways with you guys, we're gonna have a whole new setup here. Everything's upgraded. We're doing the expansion as well, where we can do remote. That way, Josh can be able to do the pod in his own place. In that way, he doesn't have to make all that extra crickets, guys. He takes a lot of time away from his family to come do this type of stuff. Plus, he's doing the editing and everything else. And, it's the least I could do is try to shorten that up a little bit by doing less travel for him, and then just, be able to do it where we can do two different setups, which I think would also look cool, too.
Oh, yeah.
And, so the pod is growing, guys. All we need you guys to do is to like, share, and subscribe our content and make sure this gets out to people. So that way we can build our viewership and we can give you guys more of that juice that I know you guys are looking for. Josh, man, oh man, I got a couple topics that I want to talk about. We kind of already started on it. And, for the ones that don't know, which I feel like if you don't know, then you're under a rock or you're not from our country. But we have a new president.
We sure do.
Oh, man. What's your thoughts there?
I knew it was going to be a wild and crazy day. See, yeah. I work in IT for the city, and part of what we do is handle the election, like the whole electronic part of the election. So I had to be there at 5 a.m. The night before, my supervisor's like, "Man, I got a weird feeling. Like this one feels weird." We had all the early voting ballots, and none of that went right. I worked the whole Saturday while the early voting was going on, and everything was different. We have a new clerk here in Evansville.
Yeah.
So just getting all that lined up for probably the biggest. They always say they're the biggest election, but this one, felt extra bigger.
This one trumps.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You see what I did there, guys? Hey, listen, I don't have great jokes. I just got decent ones. These are dad jokes all day. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. But working that day, part of the things we do whenever. These things called EVID units. Whenever you go and vote and you sign in, that tablet, it actually holds all the information.
Right.
So you go and you sign in. They give you your little piece of paper with the QR code. You then go to the little thing and you do your voting. And then you take that to a final box. That final box then talks back to the first one. That way everything's centralized.
Right.
That data is uploaded to the Sky and then also backed up on a little flash drive. That way they have, double copies of everything or one copy. Well, never have they had an issue with these units. On election day, I myself had to swap 2 of those out.
Jeez.
And another worker later in the day, he had to swap one. Like they just weren't working. In the first place I got to, they said they had 110 people waiting when they opened the door. They asked the first person when they got there, and they said, we were here since 5:15. I was like, oh.
And the whole time they're over here thinking like,
Stupid.
They were just out there flipping a coin. Heads for Barack. I mean, not Barack. Who's the other one? For the lady.
Barack.
And tails for the other guy. For the orange one, heads brown, tails orange. So, but I went through, got that done, and went to go vote. And I walked in, and they're like, "Look, we're out of I voted stickers." I'm like, "Oh man, that's the only reason I'm here."
I feel like that's what most people are there for, is just to like flex on social media that they voted.
Yeah, and then whatever. Let me do this. I go stand in line. Then the stickers showed up. I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be good."
Oh shit!
Oh, Kamala, let's go. We're taking Indiana.
Give me these.
And then that's all I got. Then watching it, I'm a big fan of Twitch and other things, and listening to Hassan Piker, who I'm a big follower of, just because I'm a socialist libtard myself, very progressive, try to be. And he's like, "Oh yeah, they could still pull this off. She could still pull this off." And then as the night went, like, she ain't pulling this off. No, it was red. It's like all she has to do is win Pennsylvania and Michigan and Minnesota and Nevada.
He ends up naming like fucking 35 states.
Red.
It's like, sorry, blood. America's looking more like Bloods than Crips over here.
Oh man, that's it. So yeah, we went to sleep, and my son, he's very into politics now, and
good for him.
He's like, I was up till 2:30 in the morning. Like, dude, you had school the next day, but he didn't care because that's this generation's way different than when we were kids.
No, for sure.
But yeah, I mean it is what it is. We'll see what happens.
I feel like a lot of those Kamala supporters all wish the election would totally just rewind and just get another try. I just feel like with so many different variations and how it was all handled, I feel like the Democrats did what they maximized what they could do for the amount of time that they had. I just feel that did she have an ample amount of time? No. But I feel like what she did with the time that she had, I feel like she did pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, she could have done things differently. I feel like we're in a generation now where everyone knows about fake news media.
Mm-hmm.
Your CNNs, your NBCs, all those type of platforms that play to a specific party. And I feel like a lot of people now, they resort to like platforms like podcasting, like your Joe Rogans, your Sean Hannitys, and people like that. And it's like these people, they may vote a particular way, but they still try to be conservative. They try to play it as neutral as possible despite what their views are. And that's one thing I like that Joe Rogan said, and I am the exact same way. He's like, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I vote for the party that makes it make sense. And that's what I get behind, because I'm the exact same way. I voted Democrats most of my life. In the last few elections, I went to the opposite direction. But it's because it's just, I just want what makes sense and what's fair for everybody. I'm not all about the handouts. I'm not about taxing the wealthy extra. It's not their fault that they make good investment and smart decisions that they're now penalized for that. So it doesn't make it almost like it's encouraging to be lazy. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of how I look at it. Of course, my family looks at things a lot differently, and that's fine. But for me, I just want it to make sense. Whoever tries to make the most sense, which you and I both know, all politicians are rats at the end of the day. All it is all about their money and how they can maximize their dollar values. And we're unfortunately the guinea pigs. And the thing is, I feel like where the Democrats kind of fell off is they try to focus more on the influencers. And the thing is your Beyoncés, your Jay-Z's, your Cardi B's, the people that they're going after isn't the right people that you want to put on your campaign.
Oh yeah, they're just as out of touch as your Elons and all those people. It's just a matter of who's not. Yeah,
right. But I just feel like with podcasting and just online streaming, just in general, I feel like a lot of the public gravitates to that because most people try to play neutral unless you're bought. And the thing is Democrats did work very hard trying to buy specific platforms that were predominantly like black cultured, where they catered toward the African American population more. And they try to get them to paint a narrative for compensation and things like that. They all do it. Republicans are no different. The only difference is I like that some of these independent companies kind of actually seem like they had more of an influence on voting than your celebrities that we know to grow up to see all the time, like your Kardashians and stuff. I feel like their political power is almost diminished because everyone knows like they're only there for the money and they're there for what benefits them. And what benefits them doesn't benefit a guy like you and I. And I'm a part of the middle class, like I'm not broke, but I damn sure ain't rich. That's why I'm like, whatever makes sense. Literally, I always look at your Democrats as more of your lower, and this is like a good portion of them, or lower income. Your Republicans, most are going to be higher tier to middle upper class income. Your middle class is people that just want shit to make sense.
Oh yeah,
that's the honest truth, But I feel like there's going to be a lot of upset people. But one thing I can say is, Trump ain't even sat in office yet. Bitcoin went crazy. Stock markets have gone crazy. Now all of a sudden, Hamas and Israel's kind of now starting to really pick up the pace on the peace talks and having some sort of agreement. And Putin just came out and was saying like, hey, I know I've said this before, but I'm very serious about trying to stop this war, which, take it for what you want. But I genuinely believe that a lot of those people have such a respect for Trump that I feel like they're kind of just like, all right, I'm done with all the BS. Let's just really get to the nitty gritty and let's get it over with. And, the whole like border crisis, like apparently like they're starting to thin out a little bit because now that they know that he's, going to be in office in January and like all hell's going to break loose down there, And I'm all about equal opportunity. You know what I mean? Like that's what's the great thing about our country is everybody can get the same amount of opportunity. I just want everybody to do their part and to get here legally. I got friends that I'm sure are illegal, and that's fine. They're great people. It doesn't change who they are. But what happens is when you give handouts to those people, and we have vets and people that are on our streets that are homeless, and these people don't get catered to, and these people are getting $10,000-$20,000 thrown at them, and then they get chartered to a specific city for a place to stay. It's kind of like, all right, guys, where are your priorities? And I understand you can say the excuse of, well, Democrats were just trying to buy their votes. Even if that was true, I think of the people that are still sleeping outside in the rain, that they have to sleep under something just to be covered up, that, it's just in bad weather. And I'm like, man, these are the people we should be taking care of. I'm okay with my tax dollars taking care of these people. And I'm not about, if you just go be lazy and go be homeless, they can take care of you. I'm not saying that. But, why don't we use some of that tax dollar to go build up some more shelters? You know what I mean? Like, I'm way okay with that. If you want to raise everyone's taxes a little bit for that, I'd be okay with that just as much. I'm sure most kind-hearted people would be as well. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that was kind of a weird narrative where people were saying that they're buying the votes.
Yeah.
These people still can't vote.
Well,
no, I mean you need your Social Security, you need to be a citizen.
But they're giving.
If anything, it's a maybe an investment here in the future.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. Yeah, I think that's what they were doing. Because people obviously you have to get a Social Security number, but they were giving them like a specific type of identification number. I forgot the exact term, so I apologize. But they were giving them kind of like a modified Social Security number, and it allows them to be not so much of the legal side. It's more of just to like be able to thrive in our country with documentation. And I just think there could have been just a better way to go about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like the whole idea of it was to build the Democrat class up. I totally believe that.
Oh yeah, but and the really crazy thing is, like my son knows so much more about politics. He should be in here as our political.
Yo, shout out to your son for.
Yo, Alan is on it.
Yeah,
he's 16-year-olds are insane.
Alan, shout out to you, big dog. Stay on your grind on the politics.
But as he's watching everything break down and watching all the commentary, he said that the biggest swing through all this was the Hispanic vote.
Yeah.
Going from the Democrats to the Republicans.
Yeah.
And as it was like 35% of Hispanic males switched to the Republican Party. And he said
17% black males too.
Yeah, and he said that there was a lot of as they're asking them what's the reason behind this, don't you know what he's saying about immigration? He wants to shut the borders down, throw everybody out day one. And a lot of these guys, they said they wanted to be the last one.
Yeah.
They made it. Close the door.
Right.
I mean, and I was like, what the hell? He's like, yeah, so these guys, they come through, they start their process for citizenship or naturalization, and they're like, we don't want no more. Yep. Because that sets them on a different tier. Yep. And so I was like, so what you're saying is, like, if you go to Walmart now, Money Services is right there at the front.
Yep.
There's always a lot of Hispanic folks there. I live by one of these Las Americanas. It's a front. There's not much going on in there as far as things you can buy or sell. I was trying to find some cotija cheese, and I could not find it because all it was a line of people sending money to Mexico, which I get. And people come here, make the money, and send it down. But I think a lot of these people, they want to be the provider. Yeah. They want to be something special, sending it, and kind of that way you can hang on and hold your bit of power and what's dear.
It's not like they're lazy. You know what I mean? They have to provide for themselves and still go provide for people that are not even in the country, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, I've never met a lazy Hispanic person. They work way harder than I do.
They're by far the hardest working class ethnicity. I think that you can compare to any other race. I think the Hispanics will always take over as far as the hard workers. I think Asians come in a close 1A to top tier 2. But, like, dude, the Hispanics, shout out to y'all, man. Y'all are some hard-working people.
And manual labor. I mean, I live on the south side. Our neighborhood isn't, people don't care about their yard. Right. They're mowing their grass at most. And this guy, 3 times this year, was out there edging and getting all the grass out between the sidewalks. So you got shitty house, shitty house, shitty house, shitty house.
Yeah.
Shitty house, shitty house. And ours was there, and Candace is like, look, you need to go out there and, at least mow. I'm like, no, I'm gonna go out there and become friends with
you. I was just about to say, you're missing the bigger picture. We're about to become bros.
Yeah, could you just slide over this way a little bit? I'll pay you something.
Buy a bottle of tequila, brother. We're gonna have a good time. I just need you over here so that way I can get mine looking like yours. Man.
Oh yeah, but I think at the end of the day, the Democrats would have had a chance, but everyone I've talked to that's in this boat. This country is not ready for a female leader, and we saw it with Hillary. We saw it with Kamala. As my son was saying, if they would have ran, I can't remember who he said would for president, but then you have Pete Buttigieg as the vice president. It's like it would have been a whole another ball game. But people, especially with Kamala, they saw that this is just Biden. Yep. Biden 2.1. It's just slightly the same and slightly
she's had
different.
4 years. She's had 4 years, just like Biden had 4 years to make some dramatic changes.
But to be fair, they don't. Vice president don't have. The only thing they've got is that tiebreaker vote in the Senate.
Totally understand.
But at that, and she didn't know she was going to be put in this spot. But she could have been more vocal. There needs to be a vice president that comes out there and is like, "Hey, this is me."
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe J.D. Vance will be the one.
He looks promising. Not sure. Still on the fence about it. Just if I'm being honest,
I'm very, very intrigued about him. I saw him on the Theo Vaughn
podcast, oh my gosh,
and he is just a cool ass dude.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, if something ever happened to Trump, I'm all right with this.
Yeah, he's
I hate to say it like that, but that's how I felt.
But then we're like, but is he a sleeper agent for the blue? Because he was calling Trump the American Nazi, not long before he got this nomination. Yeah. But, is he like, hey, but if someone come up to me, he's like, Trump's running for president, would you like to be his VP? I'm like, hell yeah, I'll jump on it in 2 seconds.
Right.
And then just play the game until you get the seat. And when you get the seat, then you can do your own thing. So I think at first it's a way to keep people from getting Trump out of the picture, so Vance isn't coming in there.
Right.
But if he does, who knows what will happen? But it's just very newsworthy. We're gonna have a lot of snippets.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
And I feel like the media did a terrible job on playing on a particular side, and I feel like the media is really going downhill as far as viewership, because I feel like a lot of people know that now. It's more plain in sight. So I feel like a lot of the independent news medias, the platforms such as something like this, I feel like a lot of people are going to more resort to for information, because they know that, like, regardless on what our views are, we're just going to tell it like it is.
Oh yeah, and it's an echo chamber. You want to see stuff about the Democrats being fluffed up, it's going to be MSNBC. You
Right.
want to see,
Yep.
what the Republicans, it's
Yep.
going to be Fox News.
Yep.
I mean, there is no intermingling.
No. And I don't know why there isn't that, because there still should be a neutral area of news broadcasting, and someone that's going to tell it all, not just only tell what they want to tell. Like, matter of fact, something I wanted to bring up, I had a buddy of mine send me a video of these 21 Asians that they had busted in Florida. Did you hear about that?
Nuh-uh.
All right. So I don't even know why this is even news, but they were talking about how they busted this massage parlor, and there's like 21 people that were all involved in this big like scandal, and all they were given was happy endings. And I'm like, I have never dealt with anything like that personally. All of my stuff is 100% professional. I feel like I'd be weirded out if they did try that, because I'm like, yo, this ain't that. Like, I literally came because I'm legit sore, not because I want to make you sore. You know what I mean? Type stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just like, why is this news? Like, every place in a city, or even a bigger city, always has those places. This isn't anything new. But, like, it was crazy that it made, like, headlines. And I'm talking, like, CNN headlines. And this was in, I think this was in it was Polk County or Pike County. I think it was Polk County in Florida. But more of the story, I'm watching it and I'm like, why is this even on air? Like, this is not, you could have threw that just in the news somewhere and just let people read it if they're interested. But yet, no one wants to talk about the 300,000 kids that's been coming up missing after crossing over on our borders. You know, all these families are coming in as a family, and then they're splitting the families up. And then somehow it's documented that over 300,000 kids are missing. And I don't know about you, but America is known for sex trafficking when it comes to kids. And it's just weird that's not in the media. You know what I mean? So it's like, you guys don't cover the real stuff that people want to know about and want to learn from. You want to cover what you think is entertaining, or you're just trying to, like, cover something up.
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of like the Diddy thing. I've heard people all the time go, yeah, the Diddy thing, I think they're trying to cover up something going on with the whole election thing. And I said, I'll be honest, there's so much attention on the election, I don't think they can screw it up this time. Because if they do, then we all know. And they don't want to give that impression. So I felt like the election was going to be fair. Sure, they had their hiccups. I remember I saw one that was talking about Georgia had like 3,000 votes that were all delivered after the voting was closed, like the day before the last day of the election. And I was kind of like, that's kind of weird, And when they looked, it was a good, healthy of them were Democrat votes. But regardless to the point, it was going to be a fair election. I just loved how, I liked how the country, people, you say what you want, the country made that decision. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of the day, you can get mad at people personally. I've seen people like, oh, if you voted for Trump, like, take me off your Facebook and all this other stuff. And I just kind of laugh because I'm like, you're a part of the problem of the fake news media. The fake news media loves people like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you don't like it, change it. Do something about it. Go out there and
go. If you feel like you could do better, then go do it. You know what I mean? We live in a country where you can literally do anything you want. Go do it. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear about you mad because someone voted. They vote, dude. It's called freedom of speech. Get the fuck over it. Excuse my language, but dude,
that's why they came here, the right to vote and choose who you want for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But and I love those people. I was upset with the election, but the people that are the most vocal can't name their city council people.
No,
that is the politics that matter.
No,
I mean, true. The Supreme Court matters. I mean, the president does truly matter, but your everyday life is affected by those people that sit down there at City Hall, at the
Yes.
Civic Center.
Yes.
And you want to bitch and moan, roll with that.
Yeah.
You know.
Totally agree. And the thing is you voted one particular way. I voted a different way. But you and I can have a calm discussion and talk about where we may have thought of a specific party went wrong or what we think they did right at and have a calm conversation. And there's no, well, dude, since you voted that way, this is how I feel. I don't give a shit. Like,
No.
here's the thing. I've predominantly voted Democrats my entire time of being able to vote. It's just this specific time around, I'm looking at it more of a, man, I just want it to be fair. I don't want it to lean on a specific side. I just, if you can lean this way and lean this way, I just would rather come in the middle where you got to give a little and he's got to give a little in order to make it work. That's how I look at it. So that's why I said I'm a conservative person. I just like everything to be as fair as possible. Obviously, we live in a generation in today's society where that's not possible, but that's just kind of how I look at it. But next term, because for an example, if Michelle Obama ran, I'm not gonna lie to you, I probably would have went in that direction.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is I genuinely am surprised she didn't, but she doesn't want to get into politics. And I think that's great for her because she's like, yeah, a lot of people want me to be in that position. I don't want to be in that position. And I think that's great. But I'm pretty sure if she was in the spot of Kamala, I feel like this would have been a potentially a different type of presidential outcome. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I think she probably could have done a great job. People go, oh man, I don't think America's not ready for a woman. I don't think it's that. I just, me personally, I don't. I just think for at this point in time of our country, where we're a laughing stock to some of these other countries not being respected, the economy doing horrible, and I can just keep going. She wasn't needed at this point in time. That's not to say in 4 years from now, in 2028, that she can't make another comeback. You know what I mean? Or someone else. So, like me personally, I think that I think it'll happen in our lifetime. You know, if we're fortunate to live that long, I think it's gonna happen. I think whomever it is can learn from what happened to better prepare themselves because I think women can lead just as much as men. I just feel like just in this point in time for our country, it just wasn't warranted for this specific moment.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, I definitely believe that a woman can rule just as well as or lead as well as anybody else. I mean, we have a black female mayor here in Evansville.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know.
She just gave the city police like a huge raise.
Oh, she's awesome.
She's already doing a phenomenal job. Which shout out to her. I think it's amazing, and to me it's a step in the right direction. You can only go up from here, you know. So I think that's great. You know, I just, like I said, me personally, it's just one of those things that I don't care what party you lie. You know, at the end of the day, all that matters is what's going on in your household. Mm-hmm. And you just got to do what the best you can do for your family, no matter what happens, whether you have control of it or not. You know, if the economy gets worse and the prices keep going up, you just got to figure out other resources, how to make sure you can maintain and provide for your family at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, man, there's something I want to talk about as well was the global market. So like I said, the stocks went up. Bitcoin is at an all-time high right now. You know, I feel like our country as a whole, for our economy, I feel like things are going to go up. I call it the Trump effect personally, but I think the unemployment rate is going to drop a little bit as well, which is great. I just hope that there's more American jobs that are brought. I know Trump had said something about if China was wanting to, you know, start shipping more electronic cars over here, he was going to put like a 200% like tax on it, which would be like literally impossible for them to sell cars here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's great because he's putting America first, and that's how it should be, you know. And I'm all about helping Ukraine. I'm all about helping Israel because those countries are less fortunate, and you and I are very fortunate to be in this country. So you and I can sit here and have a pod and enjoy ourselves, and they're over there in Ukraine, and their sirens are going off every 15 to 20 minutes, and they have to go to shelter. Could you imagine us doing the pod, and all of a sudden siren goes off, where you just have to leave? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would have went to Western Europe. Yeah. I would have left my homeland and wouldn't be there no more.
I'm glad you said that too, leave the homeland, because I saw a lot of people talking about, oh, I'm going to go ahead and start looking at moving out of the country. One of my posts, which I'm going to bring it up because I know a lot of people love that one. But I was genuinely being dead serious when I said that. If you want to leave the greatest country, by all means, no one is stopping you. But like me personally, when I put it, this was 4 days ago. I said it has come to my attention that some individuals intend to relocate overseas. We respect your decisions concerning your family's best interest. I must ask, what will you be selling your belongings for? Because I'm always looking for the next hustle. And I'm being dead serious. If you want to get out of this country in the safe and security that you have here to go to another country, by all means. Because I know there's people that want to come to our country that would love to have what you have.
You know, when people talking about leaving because the president changes,
so stupid.
It's insane. You know, that like it's the end of their life. I mean, you know, I'm just as tore up as the next family member, but it's different from having bombs dropping on your head. And, they're not even allowed to leave in Ukraine.
No.
You know, they weren't letting the men go anywhere. Yes. You're going to stay here. You're going to fight for this.
You literally cannot leave the country at all. You know, if you're in Russia and you're a man, if you're in Ukraine and you're a man, you literally are running up and down the streets right now. And the thing is their wives are in Dubai and all these other countries enjoying their life. And that's the reality of being a man. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, yes, if you want to leave our country, please do. We don't need you.
Well, how many of those people that said that live in Indiana, which is as red as could be?
Thank you.
You know, it's as red as the BAR behind you.
Exactly.
I mean, come on now. I mean, it'd take an act of God for this state to switch to switch blue. But,
totally agree.
But I think it's all that shit's for attention. Yep. Hey, I want to prove that I'm sad and let me do what's what.
Somebody feels sorry for me.
Yeah,
oh my God, that damn Trump.
And especially if you voted for Trump, unfriend me now.
Yeah,
you just fucking unfriend the person that voted and carry on with your day. It's like I'm in all these just stupid groups on Facebook, like most people, and like I thought this group was something else than it is. That's it. I'm out. And every comment's like, who the fuck? Get out. Au revoir. Hasta la vista.
Yeah.
Just get going and or either make a change or deal with what you got. That's it.
That's it.
If someone's driving slow in front of you on the highway, you either stay there or you pass that.
You go right around them.
I mean,
it's just that simple. And guess what? You only have to deal with it for 4 years. You know what I mean? Like, we've sat through the Bush era and a lot of other different eras that probably more people favorable didn't want to, and nobody was complaining. It's just the fact that it's Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's more for the country than he is the typical politician because he runs our country like a business. And when you run our country like a business, our economy is the one that benefits the most, which in reality benefits us. That means we're paying less for gas. We're paying less for eggs. Matter of fact, I was just talking to somebody. Oh, my buddy Sergey, he lives in Russia. Used to live here for a little bit. Became really close to him. I still talk to him probably once a week, just to check on him, make sure he's still alive. Those type of, because actually, he did not believe in fighting for Russia for the narrative that Putin wanted. He's like, look, I got family in Ukraine. Like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, so, they're just stealing this land.
Yeah. He's in Thailand. He's in Thailand. And I don't blame him. I would do the same. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But he was telling me how expensive eggs were there right now. They were like $15 for 12 eggs. Could you imagine?
We ain't having eggs.
No. No. Either that or I'm going to go to freaking Ruler King. And I'm just going to go buy some chickens there. Yeah. Like, no, I guess we're going to get a farm started. You got me crazy as hell if you think I'm going to pay $15 for some eggs. But this is the difference between the greatest country in the world and everyone else. We separate ourselves from everyone. So it's like, okay, you want to leave? Be my guest. But guess what? If you go to Australia or whatever, freedom of speech isn't a real thing over there. You got to watch what you say. So you can't be like, oh, well, I don't agree with this. Guess what? They can just lock you up. Throw a little BS charge on you. Now all of a sudden you're spending 15 years in prison. Like, you can talk about how bad Trump is. You can talk about how bad Kamala is or Biden was, and nobody can do anything about it other than maybe debate you. That's the worst that can happen. So, like, it just cracks me up when people say that. I'm like, you don't understand how good you got it.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, enough of the politics talk. I want to talk about wrestling.
Uh-oh.
You know, a lot's been happening with wrestling. For all my wrestling fans that watch this, looks like the Bloodline got back together.
I'm about to say that. Yeah, I haven't watched any wrestling in way too long. Life's been crazy, but the OG Bloodline are
They're the
together.
ones.
The honorary Oos.
I can ask. Let me ask you this: who benefits the most from the Bloodline getting back together? Is it the Bloodline 2.0 or is it the original Bloodline? And if so, I want to know which side benefits the most and which person in the group benefits the most.
The shareholders benefit the most because they're about to bank.
They are about to
But
bank.
I think the one person that's going to benefit the most is the one that doesn't look like he belongs. I think Sami Zayn was over like Rover whenever that happened. I mean, he's good at the comedy and he's good in the ring.
Yeah.
But I think this is going to help push him to that next level, unless as the OG Bloodline starts to run amok, and then maybe Tama Tonga and Tonga, you know, the GODs, the Solo, and all them, if they can just crush this original uprising, this may be their chance to really pass the torch.
Yeah.
But I think it's either going to be one or the other. It's not Roman.
No, he can't get. I think he's the safe bet that doesn't get any type of uprising from this at all.
Yeah, no, the Usos either. I mean, they've been at the top of the mountain, and you can't go no higher.
I feel like Jay would benefit a little bit more if he's like the last one with Roman, you know, in that bloodline. I feel like it makes sense because he was on a very good run. I feel like he should have got the title a lot sooner. He should have had a decent title run. I feel like he kind of got shafted. I understand they probably had to go in a different direction. You don't want to pair the titles up involved in that kind of match because you got the tag champs that were, you know, with the Bloodline 2.0, and then you had, you know, Jay that had the Intercontinental title. I was happy he got it. He long deserved it. He was the number one merch seller for a while. And I mean, he's super over. So me personally, you know, to kind of answer my own question that I had asked you, I think the Bloodline 2.0 is who's going to benefit the most out of this. And then I think Solo and kind of adding two in it out of this. I think Solo's going to gain from it. I also think that Jacob Fatu is going to benefit out of this. For when they go singles.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're going to be looked at differently. Because I know there's some people that are calling for Solo. Like, they're like, oh, man, Solo should get the WWE title. And I'm like, whoa. Like, way too soon. Yeah. And I like him. I've had the opportunity to do shows with him on the indies before he signed with WWE. And he's a great dude. Facebook friends with him, everything. He's a great dude. I think he's doing a great job. But he would definitely need a Paul Heyman of some sort to get him over that hump.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He's got the charisma, I mean, no offense, of that monitor.
Yeah.
I mean, watching him cut a promo, it's like, ooh.
Yeah, that's where I see the air. And if you can't carry yourself on the mic, brother, you're going to be super limited.
Dude,
I think that's why
80% of wrestling's that mic work.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
And the thing is that's why I think Solo's going to benefit a lot. I feel like Paul Heyman's going to have something to do with it.
No.
How crazy, though, plot twist, how crazy would it be if the wise man screwed over the OGs? How crazy would it be to get the Bloodline 2.0 over? Then they keep this feud going where they go in their own individual spells up until Mania and then have one more blow off of Bloodline versus Bloodline. And you have The Rock versus Roman. You have Solo versus Jay. You know, you have Tama Tonga versus Jimmy. And you have Sammy versus Jacob. And even if you want to throw a couple more Bloodline members in there, you have that time. Because I know they just signed Umaga's son, Zillow Fatu. And then I hear that they got some like 6'8" Samoan.
His their other brother.
Yeah. I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah, I went to. I was going to say something about him in the last pod. I can't remember his name either.
But you have that time in between now and Mania to be able to build that up. So, me personally, I think that's why I think the Bloodline 2.0 is going to benefit the most. And people already were taking Solo serious. But the thing is I feel like Solo has taken a step up from that Enforcer role, and they gave it to Jacob Bott too. So I think that Solo is going to be enough to where when he does go singles, I think he's going to get like mini title opportunities from it.
Oh yeah, and I almost popped whenever you said, just picturing it, Jacob versus Sammy.
Yeah,
that'd be one. That'd be an insane match because that's what I like about the WWE now. We're getting these kind of oddball matches.
Yeah,
and to see those two, see how they'd work together in the ring, that'd be pretty awesome. But yeah, if they brought back the original Survivor Series 4 or 5 on 5 and having these two roll out, and
it'd be great.
You just have a whole show on one match.
Yeah, totally agree. Who else you got? I feel like Cody. I feel like Cody's at a standstill right now. I think they need to find a worthy opponent for him that he can go a good long feud with. You could throw guys like AJ Styles in there. Just guys he has really good chemistry with. But I feel like right now there's kind of a standstill. I feel like the Bloodline has more of the viewership than the main title, which I like that and I don't like it. I like it because it's paying respect to the Samoan family because they are by far the largest wrestling family. They've been in it for so long. They just keep putting out more and more and more family members, which I think is great. So I feel like it just gives a respect back, like, hey, thanks for you guys always being available for us. The least we can do is give you that real big spotlight. Highlights the family. It highlights the tradition. It highlights wrestlers that generally probably wouldn't get that push. So I think it's amazing. But at the end of the day, Cody's still your WWE heavyweight champ.
Oh, yeah. Like, since I haven't watched it in a while, that's the only thing I hear about the Bloodline. Exactly. And this isn't the Anoa'i wrestling entertainment.
Right.
I mean, that's all you hear about.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, or the women's division or something. But anyone else. I heard today though that Cody does have a new opponent.
Okay.
It's this band out of Boston called American Nightmare. Supposedly, when Cody went to file the trademark, this band, they've had it for entertainment purposes longer. So they set this deal where he was able to sell merch, but his name it'd be American Nightmare Cody or Cody Rhodes or whatever, or say something to do with wrestling or WWE on it. And they have filed it was a $900,000 lawsuit because he's went away from that agreement. And the shirts he's selling now just have the logo or just say American Nightmare and nothing else on it. So their fans are all confused. Right. And a couple other things I read were like, oh, this band actually has the chance to make a mill off of, of Cody because he got too big for his britches. Right. And he's like, no, that's what you going to do about it. But
interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just read it this morning on the John. Interesting. It was something, yeah.
Nice. All right, so I got to ask you. So what wrestler that's on the roster right now that isn't in the main event spotlight that you think in the next year is going to really get a push? Because as soon as Mania happens, or not Mania, I'm sorry, Rumble happens, it's the road to WrestleMania, which the Royal Rumble's in Indy.
Oh yeah.
Who do you think is going to get that push to where they're going to get that Sami Zayn? When Sami Zayn, broke from the bloodline and he's trying to build himself back up and he gets Kevin Owens' help and they win they win the titles at Mania. Who's going to get that spotlight for Mania? Not the person that wins Mania necessarily, because that's a given that they're going to headline WrestleMania, but who that's not in the main event that you think is going to get that significant push, I would say from now up till Mania?
I'm so out of the loop right now, man. I'm like,
no, just not even so much of storylines. Just who do you think is like heir to the throne to like get that spotlight next?
I think my heir to the throne is my cousin Tiffany Stratton. Dude, she's insane. I don't usually watch the women's division because just the work doesn't seem as tight.
Sure, it's not.
But I'm just the attitude, the skills in the ring, the beautiful moonsaults. I mean, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But somebody said something to me the other day. It's like, are you related to her? Like, that's not her real name. And they come to find out the story behind her name. There was a show back on the day called Silver Spoons, and it was with Ricky Schroeder whenever I was a little kid, and their last name was Stratton. So the story is that she's an heir to that family, so that's why she's the rich girl and she's whatever. Gotcha. And I was like, whoa, that's a deep cut.
That's not, if I'm not mistaken, because I mean I don't watch NXT much. Of course, I'm wearing an NXT shirt, guys. This is from when I was there, okay? This isn't because I watch NXT faithfully. Is that the girl that does the moonsault RKO? Is she where's she at? Is she on the main roster right now?
Yeah, she's on the main roster.
Okay,
now.
so that's the blonde. That's the blonde.
Yeah, that's the blonde.
Okay, no, that's not who I'm thinking of. She does the moonsault, which I think is great.
I saw that moonsault RKO.
The chick that does the moonsault RKO, holy. Guys, listen. I know the ones that are probably watching are like, this is wrestling talk. I'm sure you guys are probably going to fast forward through this. But if you didn't, this girl does a legit springboard backflip. I don't even know if you call it a backflip, front flip, but she literally jumps on the second rope. She tosses her body in like a front flip without going forward, and she does a RKO at the same time. I ain't going to lie. It's pretty dope.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely pretty dope. So, a guy that I think personally is going to get that significant push, I think is Braun Breaker.
Yeah, I love Braun. I'm glad they're kind of slowing him down a little bit.
Yeah, he was fast tracking there for a second.
Oh yeah, you don't want no Goldberg. Yeah, got to make him human.
Yeah,
but yeah, Braun's awesome. I think you should have went with the Steiner last name.
I totally agree with that. I don't like that name, and I hope they change it. There's been a lot of questionable names that they have used, but I think the Braun Breaker gimmick is definitely over. Because I like how he pays homage to his dad, and he's like, "Where are the dogs at?" And everybody just starts barking, and I like when he does that. I have WCW flashbacks. But I think he's gonna be the one that's gonna really have a moment for Mania. My sleeper of that, I think, is going to be Austin Theory.
Yeah, I hated him so much when he was Vince's boy.
Yeah,
but
he was getting the John Cena treatment.
Yeah, he's killing it now. Yeah. And then that tag team, A-Town Down Under. I mean, those guys they're fun to watch.
Yeah, they are. They're entertaining. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not that sold on Grayson Waller. If it wasn't for him being Australian,
he's green as grass.
That's my point. He just nothing necessarily stands out, and he's got a terrible spray tan. This isn't no haterism. I am all about everyone getting their moment because he gets quite a few moments. A lot of them is usually not him on the receiving end of winning, but he gets his moments. But I feel like Theory is like the next John Cena. I've said that back when Vince was pushing him hardcore. That's kind of how I feel. Another one you could watch out for is Bronson Reed. I think he's going to be one that they're going to push. I mean, heck, they're already putting him in with Seth Rollins and things like that. And guys, I've been in the business. I've been backstage. I've worked WWE shows and everything. When they give you the opportunity to wrestle main event caliber wrestlers, yes, you may lose, but you're still winning because what you're proving to them in the politics in the back is you can hang with the big boys. So even though you may lose, you're still winning in defeat. And I think that's amazing that guys like him can still thrive and still perform and get utilized despite them bumping up someone that's already on the main stage. I think that's great because it sets them up for success. Because if you remember when Gunther was like that as well for a little bit, he was wrestling, some of the upper card, main event guys, and he never necessarily wouldn't always win. But like now, look at him. You know what I mean? Look at your Damian Priest, guys like that. Now this is their chance to really show why they can be a main eventer in, say, the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, Damian Priest, that was what I was going to bring up. For him to stay at that level, to stay as a contender will be awesome because they're still, it's like they're holding it back a little.
Rise. I don't know why I like when he does that.
I mean, dude's insane. When he was, Punishment Martinez, I've seen him do those dives over the top rope at 6'5".
When I met him, I met him in Newport Richey in Florida. and he went into that gimmick, and it was impressive to watch that because that's hard to do.
Oh yeah,
It's very hard to do, and safely do it.
mm-hmm.
I've seen a couple botches before, but he's got right up and kept on moving. But every time he does the all rise gimmick, I just want to stand up and just salute. I don't know why. He's good, man. He's good. He speaks to multiple languages. I feel like you can gravitate him. He's already played the baby in the hill, so he can do both. He's got the badass look on him.
He's worked his way up.
Yeah.
Started in the Indies. He wasn't as they said back then, he wasn't from the power plant.
No.
He was.
He wasn't molded.
Yeah.
He had to do everything himself and build himself up. And I tip my hat to those guys because, like I said, I've been back there. The politics are heavy. You know what I mean? So, like, you guys don't understand. I get people talk, oh, man, I wish you were still in it. Da-da-da. And I'm like, sometimes you can't outwork politics, no matter what you do. You can work as hard as you can. You can knock walls down. I've had Hall of Famers tell me, oh, man, they should just let you go crazy, man. Give you a microphone. And I'm just like, yeah, I would love that. I would not crack under pressure. Of a podcast, I could talk all day, and I could make things very entertaining. But it's about right place at the right time, and it's all about knowing the right people. And I worked my behind off behind the scenes, but it wasn't enough. And that's okay, because when I understood that politics was such a big thing, I now knew where I hit my ceiling. And that was something I could walk away with. Because it's not my body that gave out on me. It's not my hard work that gave out on me. It's just I wasn't in the circle. And that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really hard for those people that are competing now on the main stage. They got to keep everybody happy. So I find that interesting. But,
Yeah, and back then, it took for Vince to be gone for people to be able to cut their own promos.
Yep.
These guys are actually saying what they want to say, and it's not written down. So that would have been another thing that held you back. Cause
Yep.
How can you convey what Vince wants people to put out there?
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Well, I know that I always finish off with some opening remarks, open questions, anything that's on your mind, anything you want to ask, or anything at all that you're just like, man, this bothers me, or whatever it is. You got anything?
My big thing was just the election, trying to figure out. I don't even know. Just through the whole thing and let people know that it'll be all right.
Yeah.
It'll be all right. Just get out there and make the moves, make the calls, do whatever you got to do to get support for what you want to happen in 4 years. You're stuck with this now.
Yeah.
In the best and worst ways of saying it, we got to move forward. And you could do no good to go and get rid of family members.
Right.
I know people that are family members that are trans, that are whatnot, and even seeing fellow workers online that are in that situation and how they're disowning their family because they voted for somebody that actively doesn't agree with their views, but there's a big long list of reasons that people do what they want to do. Right. So keep loving your people.
That's it.
Those are the ones you're gonna have to see day in and day out. And Donald Trump individually, he don't know you. He don't care about you. Just like everybody else, you stick with what's important. And I think when people realize that, that's the eternal thing.
Unity.
Yeah, unity. And like Donovan was saying, you got to do you before you can worry about anybody else.
Dude, I'm so glad you brought him up. Donovan, we miss you. I got something cooking up for you, Donovan. You and Montel Hero. Montel is in Phoenix, so we're going to do a remote pod with him and good old just Donovan. I had conversations with Montel Hero, and he is a spiritual healer. I am not educated in that at all, so I am very curious, not only to learn about it, but to understand why he has his certain views. Because remember the pod whenever we had the dating pod and everything?
Oh, yeah.
He had different views, and they were interesting views, and I just said, hey, look, as much as I'd love to hear all this, I'd rather you save it for the pod.
Uh-huh.
And, he's like, well, I just want to ask Donovan, like, why he said this or why he thinks this. And he's like, I understand it's more of a religious thing, but he's like, I'm a healer. And I'm thinking, interesting when you say healer, because like, it's not, when I think of a healer, I think God's the ultimate healer. You know what I mean? And I'm fascinated to learn what and how do you heal? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And then why his views are different than Donovan's. And I feel like you and I are gonna play, phenomenal mediators, and we'll have our own inputs as well. But it's like it's gonna be fun because it's actually gonna be like our first like debate show, and I feel like it's gonna be really good. Like I'm talking First Take, not Skip Bayless, but Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp, Woody. Just Richard Jefferson. You got Perkins. I feel like it's gonna be that vibe where there's gonna be 4 different types of opinions, and then we all debate each other on it. Like that's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
because
something that really matters to relationships.
Yeah. And it's like, once again, you can have your own views as well. That's why we want you guys to chime in on these and leave the comments and inbox us about this stuff, because the interaction with you guys is going to be just as important. Because if you guys have questions about a particular thing we said or that they said, or heck, you got your own opinions, we want to hear those so we can write those down. And then that way we can communicate that amongst the group and even get a reaction to that. So that way we can address the questions and concerns as well, because we can sit here and talk all day on a microphone. But the interaction with you guys is the most important thing. We want your word to get out there and your message, because you might have something that's very good information that other people need to hear, or something that we may learn from. There's a reason why we were given 2 ears and 1 mouth. So please go on our page. Remember, like, share, subscribe our content. Do you want to let them know the platforms that we all have that they can connect to us with?
Oh yeah, you can go. You'll probably hear from YouTube, and thank you. And YouTube helps carry the torch. So the Immaculate Podcast is where you're at here. You can also find us under that same name on Facebook. TikTok, once we get stuff up there, we do have it set aside. The Immaculate Pod at gmail.com. You want to send a suggestion and you don't want to comment anything, you want to do it anonymously, yes, you can go ahead and do it there. And we're going to get our Twitter/X game up a little bit, and that's Immaculate_pod over there.
Find us on all those platforms. Go follow us, please. Like I said, please like, share, and subscribe. We can't get the algorithm out there unless you guys boost it up. And the thing is I know there's people that periodically will go up to me just randomly. Like I had 2 that happened last night. I've had people inbox me, hey man, we love your pod, man. We just want you to do more episodes. That's fine. We'll do more. We just need more engagement. We need more likes. We need more shares. We need more subscribers. So that way the YouTube algorithm gets pushed to where we can be able to reach out to other platforms. I remember Josh telling me, what was that day when you look up the algorithm on that YouTube and it put us in a certain category or something like that? You had told me.
Oh.
He was like, oh yeah, man, when I search, we'll be under this and people can find us that way. I don't remember what you said.
I don't remember either. It's been
that was like several weeks ago when you said it, but you were like, oh yeah, man, they can look us up under this algorithm, and I was like, yo, that's cool. Like,
oh yeah, because we're showing up on that YouTube Music under podcast right away.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
that's
we
what it
didn't
was.
have to do anything. And speaking of which, I was looking for a day to get it on there. By the time you see this, the last episode will be up. We've had always technical difficulties.
Gosh, that's been a nightmare.
But I'm saying by December 1st, we're going to be on Apple. We're going to be on Spotify. We wanted to make sure we had a backlog of podcasts. So once we get it up, there's content. It's not like, well, these guys are one and done. Yep. No, we were 5 and done.
Yeah.
6 and done. But yeah, we'll be up there. I'm going to say it now, right hand on the Bible. Whichever. We'll be up there by December 1st. So I think the last time whenever we searched for it, it was popping up into relationship stuff. I think.
Yeah, but that to me, that's super cool.
Yeah.
That they're breaking down the algorithms for that. Like, that just tells you that like our content is obviously monitored by someone that puts us in those demographics, which makes it easier for people to find us. and it also gives us key points because we can figure out which episodes are gaining more attention and more views to where we can cater more towards those. So as of right now, we're just throwing a bunch of darts and we're seeing what sticks. So we just have these casual conversations and then we see what sticks and what people like and dislike. Because obviously we don't want to give you guys the content that you don't like, obviously. Like if we're not getting any interaction off of wrestling conversations, we're not going to have them. Obviously, I know politics are always going to get a reaction. I know relationships are always going to get a reaction. But we're trying to do it in our own unique way. You know what I mean?
yeah.
We're not trying to be like everyone else's podcast and everything. We are just about whatever. As Josh always says, what do you want to talk about? You know, that's the type of mindset that we're trying to push out there for the viewers to know that, like, yo, they talk about anything, man. It's not anything particular. Sure, they have their common, topics that they may pick on every episode. We may talk about relationships every episode for a little bit, or we might talk about politics or whatever it is. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about sports and just everything, but we need to know from you guys on what algorithms you guys really want us to focus more on. Because if we give you guys the content you need, you're going to watch a lot more and you're going to be more apt to share our stuff. And like I said, if we got to get the subscribers up, we got to get the likes up. I'll be honest, you sharing it, that's great. I'm not so much worried about the shares as I am the subscribes and the likes, because the algorithm, once it gets pushed, it's going to get recommended a lot more to the average viewer who doesn't know who we are. And that's really huge for us. And I forgot. I know on the next pod, I'm gonna have some Immaculate Podcast shirts made. I had talked to my shirt person. They literally just said, send me the graphics, tell me the color of the shirt. We'll do a test run for you guys. We'll wear them. We'll get thumbs up type of things and see if you guys like them. If you guys do, we could start pushing those out, because I had already made a post asking people like, hey, if I got, Immaculate Podcast merch, would you buy it? And I had a lot of people like, heck yeah, I would.
Yeah, I saw that blew up.
And I was surprised because I'm like, okay, I didn't think that many people would really support us, you know what I mean? And it's like, I always got to remember there's a lot of people that watch from afar, and I always tend to forget that, and I instantly get reminded. Last night I had a guy, and he's like, yo, dude, I think he's like, are you a wrestler? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, dude, I've seen you on TV before, man. He's like, it's really cool to actually meet you. And I'm thinking, like, bro, I'm just me. Mm-hmm. And I kept telling him that, and he was like, no, dude, like, me and my son watch you all the time. Like, I'm not trying to fanboy out. He's like, I just happened to look, and I saw you, and I was like, holy crap, that's Micah's. And I'm like, bro, I'm just Micah's, man. Like, I don't know what image you see, but I'm still the same dude, bro. Like, I don't care if I'm employed by $1 billion industry or I'm working for a guy that owns a tire shop. Shout out to Johnny Richards. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm still the same person. I'm not going to change for anything. So it's like, if you took the time to stop to even acknowledge that, I'll talk to you for as long as I can. You know what I mean? So it's like, people are like, oh, dude, heck yeah, get the shirts. I would love to get a shirt and a hat to start off. And if that takes off, I will go more with different designs, colors. We can go with cups. We can really take off on this merch, guys, if you guys want it. But I don't want to put anything out there that I know that you guys don't want. Once again, your interactions and giving us proper feedback is only going to be the way how we grow our product and get you guys the best content that we possibly can. We're always gonna have issues with our audio and stuff. That's a part of the learning curve. But like, you guys are here with us now, so just imagine a few months from now, like, how much better we're gonna be. We're gonna get better quality product. Just our whole podcast setup is gonna change just within the next episode or two, and like, you don't get that unless like you're already getting the algorithms that you need and you're getting the viewership. But it's like, hey, we still got to improve, We don't want to be one of those pods that still have the old setup from day one.
Yeah, go watch episode 1 of the Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And see how it's changed through the years.
Exactly. So, we're growing. We want you guys to grow with us. But in order for us to grow, we need you guys' help. So once again, please like, share, and subscribe. Jump on our platforms. Tell them one more time where they can find us at again.
Anywhere in the world, look for the Immaculate Podcast, except for Elon Musk's X.com, where that is Immaculate_pod.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are taking off. We appreciate you guys tuning in with us. We love you. We thank you. You be safe until the next time on the Immaculate Podcast. You guys be safe.